Peter, I guess, like I was saying, just after 5 seasons now with the Moose, why was it time now to call it a career?
Yeah, when you play pro hockey, and especially when you're coming from a college system where you're only playing 30 to 40 games a year, and you start playing 76 to 100, depending on preseason playoffs, that kind of thing. It takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on your body, and with that, inevitably comes some injuries. And I was unfortunate enough to come across a few big injuries in my career, and been able to overcome most of them. And this past season here, had a head injury that just kind of bothered me, and outside of hockey as well. And at that point, kind of just took some time to reflect and reevaluate, and talk to the doctors that I've trusted for the past 5 years here, past 6 years, and utmost confidence in them. And we discussed things and just about life in general, and decided it was time to move on from hockey. And loved every second of it, but 28 is kind of old in the world of pro sports, and I feel like it was not only a great run, but it's a good time for me to step away from the game here.
Okay, we'll toss things over to Dave Minuk now, who's got some questions.
Peter, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Congratulations on the decision. And just wanted to know, I mean, obviously you made it, and it was injury related, but how hard was it to make that decision?
Yeah, it's always tough. I mean, you never think it'll happen in general, when you're in your low to mid 20s, you professional hockey player, you think you're invincible, and you never really think about the day that you're going to retire. And again, kind of strange to say at 28 years old that you're retiring, but yeah, it's incredibly difficult. And I guess kind of as I've had time here, obviously I only played a handful of games this season, so I've had some time to reflect and think about it. But yeah, I mean, not an easy decision, and the thing you're going to miss most are the things that never happened on the ice. It's all the stuff in the room and all the people you get to meet along the way, and to be able to just have that platform is to be able to do good in the community and give back, and people come to the rink after a hard day of work and come to enjoy themselves and watch you play is yeah, it's tough to give it up.
And just by way of follow-up, Peter, you're a Winnipegger, obviously. So what has it meant for you to be able to play pro hockey in your hometown?
Yeah, I've got this question a lot, obviously, over my tenure here in Manitoba, and it's I just feel so fortunate to be able to have been able to do it. So many pro players play for such a long time, never going to play in front of family and friends and that kind of thing, just based on location where they play and different circumstances like that. So I was always blessed and always tried to appreciate it and not take it for granted. The fact that my friends could come after they were done work, my parents could come every single day to watch me play. Again, from being from Winnipeg and appreciating and knowing what the Moose, True North, and Winnipeg Jets mean to the community is kind of grew up with it, grew up in it, and obviously they meant a lot to me as well as I grew up. So just to be a part of that in general was awesome, and I definitely acknowledge that in my first couple of years as I was here, and just kind of where it led and how it continued to grow, and more and more a bigger part of the team and the organization was awesome, and always cherish that, and hope I was able to give back the same way that other people did for me when I was younger.
Thanks, Dave. If you have more questions, we'll come back to you after I get to a couple of the other guys who have their hands up right now. So we'll hand things off to Paul Friesen now, and then after him, Jason Bell, you'll be up.
Hi, Peter. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, all good.
All right. Thanks for doing this for us. I think you mentioned a head injury you were dealing with last year. Can you take us through that a bit and how serious it was, how much it did affect you away from the ice even?
Yeah, it's a side of the game that a lot of people don't talk about. Obviously, it's becoming more and more prominent and kind of getting out there more into the open. I've had a bunch of concussions in my career. No secret about that. Just happens most of the time. No intention or any disregard for the head when these injuries occur. But just over the course of my career, and of course, growing up, concussions weren't really, I guess, respected might not be the right word, but acknowledged the same way they are today. And just knowing I've had upwards of probably double digits concussions here. I had a bunch diagnosed, but I'm sure a few that went undiagnosed as well, just before that was kind of, I guess, more on our radar there. So between growing up playing hockey and football, there's just a lot of contact in those games, no doubt about it. And, again, sometimes, actually 99% of the time, there's no malicious intent from the person that either gave me the concussion or otherwise. But yeah, it got to a point where started to affect my life outside of hockey, and as soon as that happened, I was always able to recover from them just fine. And as soon as it started bothering me outside of hockey, then decided it was time to retire.
How did it bother you outside of hockey?
You know what? That's a little bit personal, and I prefer actually not to answer that right now.
Okay, that's fine. If I may, with the more and more research that has come out, and I'm sure you've been reading it, how concerned are you for your future?
You know what? Like like I said, had a bunch of concussions and always recovered from them, and now it's something that I was always fine with, and obviously the risk when you play the game. I feel fine now. It took a while, but I do feel fine now, and I mean, for me, that's the most important thing, and just hopefully stays that way.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, I'll be unmuting Jason Bell here to ask a couple of questions.
Peter, I really appreciate this, and I know that those are tough questions to answer, but I appreciate your candor on that. As far as a pro career highlight, Peter, I mean, maybe go back to when you played with the Ice Caps, you played with the Moose. A couple of things that maybe stick out for you.
Yeah, the Ice Caps was kind of my introduction to pro hockey. The atmosphere, being out on the East Coast there, it's kind of it's an interesting part of Canada, and it's definitely a place that everybody should at one point or another try to get to, because it's really a fascinating place with great people and a great love of the game of hockey. And just being out there and kind of getting into my first pro experience is kind of what I remember about that place. And honestly, kind of a blur. I was only there a couple of weeks, a couple of months maybe, and then obviously coming back to Manitoba. My goal from the outset, I was a late round pick of Atlanta, and coming to Winnipeg here, there are too many good players and not enough spots. So my intention was always just to do my best to stay with Manitoba as long as I could. And my first couple of years, it was really about that. And obviously, I remember the first game here. Took warm up and got scratched for that one. So, but just being a part of that and being on the team and making the team on camp my first year was big for me. And then obviously becoming captain of the team too. Patrice Cormier, the former captain, was one of my best friends. Still talk to him almost daily, and learned a lot from him and just being around him. And then never thought I'd be in a position to become a captain of the Moose. And was never lost on me how important that was to me and in the organization, and how proud I was to represent the team, players, and the people in the organization through that.
Thank you. I was just also thinking about you had really dedicated yourself to being a Manitoba Moose and on and off the ice representing that uniform. But how satisfying was it to see some of those teammates like Hellebuck and Morrissey and a guy like Kyle Connor, move on from you? You got an opportunity to play with them, and then just to see the success they've had at the next level, even though you didn't quite make it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Talk to our coaches, Pascal, Vivi, and Marty, and they say the most rewarding part of their job is seeing guys grow and excel and develop and become full-time NHLers. And I mean, Helly was my roommate my first year in pro, and there are so many people you need to give credit to, but even just being in the room with him, it was his second year pro, getting little things from him, just how he prepared, how he ate, slept, that kind of thing, probably for him propelled him to the NHL to being a Vezina candidate. And for me, took my game from where it was being kind of a fringe American League player to becoming captain of the Moose. So you take a little bit from everybody you're with, and obviously being around those guys like Casey, JMO, Kelly, all those guys. Best part about all these people is they're good people, and they're people unlike you and me. And obviously coming into pro hockey, you're around these guys that are highly touted and first rounders, and they're always talked about the next guy to make the jump to the team. And my friends, my family ask about these players as well. And I guess just being kind of on the inside looking out, you just realize that they're human beings too, and they have families, and you know, and how much they care about you as a player, regardless of where you come from, you know, where you were drafted, that kind of thing. They're just good people. And again, like I said, that's the best part about this game is you're constantly surrounded by good people, and when you see those people go on to do great things and be great players in the NHL, it's just nice to kind of be a little blip on the way of where they came from as well.
Peter, on the thank you video that the Moose posted today, there's the ending has an image of you wearing a Moose jersey for your youth hockey team, and then of course beside that an image of you as the captain. If you could go back and say something to that young kid about what was going to happen to him in his career in hockey, what would it be?
Just that it happens fast. I mean, I still remember the coach of that team was Bruce Southern. You know, I remember every single player on that team, and honestly, a lot of them are still playing. Calvin Pickard, Dylan McElrath, both played on Grand Rapids against us this year. You know, Mark Stone was on that team. We were always surrounded by a great bunch of players, and again, you got to give credit to really everyone, because being on teams with those people that push themselves, that in turn pushed you, and it kind of helped all of us out collectively. And obviously, we're all able to make careers in the game, and very fortunate for that. But yeah, just tell that kid that it happens really fast, and appreciate it as you go, because eventually one day it ends.
And it might be a little cliche, but what's something or one thing that really stands out from your time with the Moose, whether it was something on the ice or off it?
Just the organization in general. Again, how they treated people, and you hear a lot of stories about the American League, and I guess very unlike the NHL, every team is treated differently, and there are different standards on every team in terms of rink, travel, accommodations, hotel, even you know, little things as food and so forth. So really just the organization as a whole, from Chipper all the way down. I mean, Zinger, obviously, Chevy, all the coaching staff. It's just how they treated people, and they treated you as a human. You know, you weren't just you know, a hockey player. They cared about you. They cared about your family, and that's just so important.
Peter, to springboard off of Daniel's question, the first question he asked you was about the, you know, you as a young kid wearing a Moose jersey. Now there's young kids wearing Peter Stoykewych Moose jerseys. What does that mean to you when you actually see people wearing jerseys with your name on their back?
Yeah, you know what? Again, you never really think about it until you start to see some of them in the crowd. And actually, this year, kind of it hit home as well with having a bobblehead night. And I was just talking to someone the other day. They were talking about running around the rink with their daughter trying to get a bobblehead, and they missed out on the I guess first couple thousand that were given out there. So I have to grab them a bobblehead. But just seeing that people genuinely care about, I mean, you as a player and you as a person, and try to emulate you and be like you, it's pretty surreal. And I mean, I was in that spot, you know, 15, 20 years ago here now, and I watched those players like Keener and Baumgartner and Scott Arniel was around, like those guys, and now to, I guess, be acquaintances with them and know them, and have gotten advice from them, and be able to call a lot of them friends is pretty surreal, and still doesn't hit home a lot, you know?
Yeah, of course. And then have to ask you about your coach, Pascal Vincent. He's been your coach for the last 4 seasons. What has he meant to you as both a player and as a person?
Yeah, he's the best. You know, awesome guy. Loves hockey. Loves the game and loves the people that play it. And I guess coming from where I came from, had Keith McCambridge my first year. He kept me around, you know, taught me how to be a pro. And then my second year moved over to Pascal, and as things changed, you don't know. I kind of stuck around my whole first year in the American League, and then the coaching changed, and I didn't know how that would affect things. I essentially had to reestablish myself on the team and in the organization. So Pascal came in, and he stuck his neck out for me and gave me a chance to perform and play. And I was able to take advantage of that, thankfully. And as I became captain there, we built our relationship, grew stronger and stronger, and turn to him for everything now. You know, it doesn't even have to be hockey related, and that's the best thing about. I mean, the whole organization, the whole coaching staff is that it doesn't have to be about things on the ice as much as they know about that they care about you as a person, care about things going on off the ice as well, and just want to do what's best for you and the team in general all the time. So. Can't say a bad word about Pazzi. Loved working with him, and yeah, hopefully, I'm sure we'll stay in touch here as we move forward.
Okay, we're going to pass things over back to Paul Friesen.
Hi there. Thanks. Were you able to reach out, Peter, to with what you were dealing with last year, to anyone who kind of helped you through it and to your eventual decision? Anyone maybe who'd gone through it themselves?
Reached out to a lot of people, talked to a lot of people, and obviously took a lot of time with it. Again, Pazzi and Zinger were unbelievable about the whole process. Happened pretty early, and just told me to take my time, talk to the people I needed to talk to, and kind of go from there. And Dr. Mike Ellis was kind of there for me the whole way, and you know, just I talked to as many people as I could about it. I was pretty quiet about it as well. My family was great about it. But yeah, just kind of something you need to figure out on your own as well. And,
I understand. This is obviously a big crossroads for you here. I remember you did a 20 questions with the Sun a year or two ago, and you have a sense of adventure is what I got out of that. And the pictures behind you, it looks like you've done some fun stuff. What's next?
Yeah, not sure. Obviously, the world's a different place than it was, 6-7 months ago. So the world's changing, and going to try to adapt and change with it. And whatever comes my way, I'll kind of assess the opportunity and go from there. And don't really know right now, and going to keep my options open, and obviously stay in the city here. Love Winnipeg, love the place, but yeah, we'll like I said, hockey's the best game in terms of networking, that kind of thing, and I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of good people along the way that have actually reached out since to offer help or opportunities down the line. So I'll have to reach out to a lot of those people and kind of go from there.
Okay, and we're going back to Dave Minuk now. And Jason, I saw your hand go up and go down. So if that was supposed to still be up, just let me know.
You know, Peter, not many people get to work on an MBA while they're playing pro hockey. Have you finished your MBA, and will that be geared towards sports at all?
Yeah, that's done now. Finished that about a year ago now. And you know what? I'm not sure. I obviously took some time to reflect about my career. That being said, I haven't taken a huge amount of time to look forward to my next career. So if there was something in sports that worked in that sense, that'd be definitely something I'd look into. Again, like most professions, there are too many qualified people and not enough spots a lot of the time. So we'll see how it goes going forward. But regardless of what industry or position that I end up in, it's always remember my time in hockey as well.
And last one for me, Peter, is obviously your return to play this season wasn't certain, but what were your thoughts when the AHL announced that the season was canceled?
Yeah, I know. I kind of knew I was retiring before that announcement came. That being said, there's a lot of uncertainty in the entire world, in every industry right now, and hockey as well. And I know a lot of people talk about pro athletes and they're so fortunate and things, but in the American League, you kind of see both sides of it, and our industry is kind of in jeopardy right now. The NHL can play without fans; they have those TV deals that can keep them afloat and pay those salaries, but the AHL doesn't necessarily have that. So I'm sure the people at top of the American Hockey League board of directors and so forth will figure something out to make sure that hockey players are taken care of in that sense, and are going to do their best to get guys back on the ice and playing. How that goes forward with I guess the pandemic right now is really up in the air, and I know a lot of guys feel that as well. They don't know when they're going to be playing next, when their next paycheck's going to come. So there's, especially at the American League level, there's definitely a little concern as well. And like I said, I have no doubt that the directors of the American Hockey League and the representatives from every team, and I know our Zinger and our organization is pushing hard to get something done as well. So I know everybody's doing the right thing. It just with the uncertainty everywhere right now, that there is worry as well.